FPSRussia.
Keep in mind, don't try this at home. I am a professional
What
Russian.
happened to him? Hold on, let me read this article.
Russian.
FPSRussia is no longer making YouTube videos, and this is why. Nigga, go back.
I am a professional Russian.
Gun shooting video maker in Carnesville arrested. Feds search property for guns and explosives. More than 50 firearms were seized, but no illegal explosives were found. What? What was this nigga on?
Russia again, and I've got something pretty cool today. See how this goes.
If you wanted to die, you could have.
Cameraman had a little bit of an accident.
I was looking at more like 25
Did this nigga
years of prison.
Whoa!
Absolutely ridiculous.
What the fuck was this nigga on? This nigga, nah, bro, nah. Let's not skip over the fact that this nigga exploded a whole house. Let's not skip over that fact. We can't skip that.
August 8th, 2017. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms
Just say the
swiftly
DEA.
and without much reason raided the property of a local Franklin County man, seizing over 50 guns. The search came fresh off the
50
heels of a
guns.
mysterious package received by a resident of Carnesville, Georgia, and one of the biggest YouTubers of the early to mid-2010s, Kyle Lamar Myers. A gun enthusiast at heart, the man had become synonymous with firing off high-powered machine guns, blowing up vehicles, refrigerators, hitting explosive targets out of helicopters, and bringing tanks to drive-thrus.
Let me get a number 9 and 4 large cokes.
Number 9, what else?
4 large cokes.
That's 4673.
Sounds good.
That's some white people shit. That's some white people shit. Like we can't get over the fact that's just some white people shit. Like that is a white YouTuber idea from the
But thanks to a number
2020s.
of federal
That's
raids,
like it would
weapon
not make sense in
confiscations,
early
and the
in the
potential 25
2020s.
years in jail, along with the sudden and unexplained
25,
assassination
bro.
of his longtime partner, FPSRussia is no more. The man who built a career and multi-million-dollar business on guns, ammo, and explosives is now legally unable to own any of the things I just
Why does he have explosive
mentioned.
though?
But why? That's what I want to get into today, as we take a journey back in time to discover the real history of one of YouTube's most popular and federally hated pioneers. This is the story of FPSRussia.
What was this nigga on? And matter of fact, fuck that. That nigga was driving a tank in a residential neighborhood. Why did nobody call the police? Like nobody seen a tank and was alarmed? Nah, what was these niggas on? My ears hurt, Chad. Damn, I can't, like, damn. Okay, damn. That nigga think he a Navy SEAL or some shit.
1980, Georgia native
Damn.
Kyle Myers
Nigga just-
grew up in an upper middle class environment near a farmhouse owned by his father in the city of Livonia. As a kid, Kyle was always enthused by pellet guns and showed a clear knack for shooting at an early age, quickly learning the importance of gun safety from his family.
Every time I would point it at someone that I shouldn't point it at, which happened, or I shot something I shouldn't have shot,
Nigga
which
got
happened,
beat.
Dad would do the same thing. He would destroy the fucking pellet rifle right there in front of me, pick it up by the barrel, and smash it on the ground like a fucking gorilla, and it would just explode and be completely ruined. I learned my lesson about gun safety that way. If I fucked up, if I did something stupid, the
No gun
was
for
gone.
you.
And it's not like we're getting a new one next week or next month. it's next birthday or next Christmas. It's next time, like, it's pellet rifle shopping time. Like, we're not getting a new one.
It wasn't until Kyle became a teenager that he obtained his first real job working at a car dealership. This is where he came into contact with a peculiar Russian coworker, displaying the heavy accent Kyle would be quick to adopt and later use to brand his channel, fooling millions of people into thinking he was.
I always thought he was Russian. Like I watched a video on this like 2 or 3 years ago, but I always thought he was Russian. I made a let me see it. Let me see that sandwich. But I always thought FPSRussia was Russian. Like why would you brand yourself
Russian
like that
himself.
if you weren't
But
Russian?
contrary to popular belief at one point, Kyle grew up in Georgia, the state, not the country.
W intro.
After experimenting with a few smaller accounts as a teenager, Kyle officially
Let me
burst
see.
onto the early scene of YouTube on April 19th, 2010, with the channel FPSRussia hosted by the fictional character Dmitry Popatov, a gun fanatic from Moscow who had just moved to America and was committed to showing
name
off
was
the Russian
Dmitry.
lifestyle to an audience of what would
Got
become
AK-47.
6.9 million subscribers.
And the only way to make something more Russian is with stolichная vodka. Oh yes, my friends, now it is breakfast of champions.
It was all a clever shtick. Kyle didn't even disclose his real identity until years later in a Q&A
Never.
that isn't even up on his main channel.
First questions first, Nick Mantilla says, are you really Russian? No, of course not. No. There's this whole branch of people who think that FPSRussia is
of
like a Russian
course not.
Spetsnaz commando. The main difference between Dmitry and Kyle is the accents, and it always has been. That's the thing.
And according to him,
can hear
the
his
wide
southern
variety of his
accent,
subscriber
though.
base still has no clue of his true persona.
Not everyone knew FPSRussia wasn't the guy. Not everyone knew that. That's the truth.
Still don't know.
If I go back and upload on that channel, 80% of them don't know. They have no idea because they watch YouTube videos occasionally. Some of them were only subscribed to me. They're not part of the YouTube community or the mythos of it, or like they don't know any other YouTubers. They don't know what.
Let me
Big
see
Con
the
is. A lot
fucking
of them are like
Let me see the fucking sandwich, Breezy. That's a command, boy.
45 and 50-year-old dudes on Facebook. They just like to watch me blow shit up.
He was
Oh,
playing
God,
a
he just like
character,
me
but
for
the
real.
thing was, that didn't matter. Dmitry
Ooh, you're so goddamn humongous. Like, you're so fucking humongous. You fucking. Ooh. You
was a
know what you
likable,
are.
compelling figure, regardless of his faux
I love
Russian
that gun. Oh
background.
my
Dmitry
God.
was a likable, compelling figure, regardless.
That gun, this gun right here on PUBG was so fucking sexy. I fucking love that gun. I love
of his
it.
faux
The
Russian
VSS.
background, and that's what kept people watching.
The
As many
VSS was
YouTubers
no, I'm
tend to
not.
draw a
Cap,
devoted, cool
cap.
audience through their openness. Kyle managed to pull record numbers by doing the
But you
opposite.
just gotta
He was one of the
understand, back
only
in
creators at
2018,
the
that was the
time
only
who
game I
managed to
played.
grow so big using this formula, getting to collab with other huge names and expand the FPSRussia brand beyond his imagination.
Well, this is a f***ing good internet video, isn't it, bitch? How do you reload this again? Yeah. Can I pull the trigger?
Oh,
At
okay,
first,
okay.
Kyle would post short, usually
Oh,
1 minute
man.
videos as Dmitry playing with shotguns, Uzis, Tommy guns, shooting up 50 cal
I
with
used
one
to-
hand, and blowing up microwaves with remote controlled cars.
I used to binge watch his videos, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care. It looks like a VSS, so I'ma say it's a VSS, nigga.
I'm just fucking with you.
How the
this
fuck
guy
does he
being
have
dudes,
remote
but it
control
wouldn't be long until
explosions?
Kyle turned up the notch, exhibiting an Austria assault rifle in front of 10 million people in February of 2011. This would become his most popular video of the time. His format normally consisted of showcasing the weapon's specs and explaining its utilization before testing out what the thing could actually do.
That gives you a much shorter barrel, even
Come on now. He really paved the way. Like he really paved the way for most content creators whose main content is mostly about guns. Like he paved the way. He created the formula and niggas are eating it up right now.
It gives you much better maneuverability. This one has a reflex sight. You can come around the shoulder. See if you can see it down the side.
Not only were the
That'd be
guns
sight.
cool, he was a pretty good shot too.
Target's moving, and 2, I want to be facing the target. I'm going to use this mirror to shoot it over my shoulder.
Damn.
But as time went on and Kyle continued
Niggas just
to
showing
produce
off. I'm getting
shooting
tired of
style
it.
Content, he knew he needed to keep changing the formula
Beaver
in order to
versus
stay
Desert
afloat.
Eagle
He
shooting?
understood the critical need to up
Wow.
the stakes with each new video, which is exactly
That has to be illegal. That gun right
He
there
understood
has to be illegal. A
the
folding gun
critical need
has to
up
be
the
illegal.
stakes with each new video, which is exactly what
I know
he
they're
did,
about to make,
daring to embark on bold, crazier stunts with exotic
Why does he have an anti-aircraft gun? And an anti-artillery gun? You know what I'm trying to say.
machine
Like-
guns and explosives that were otherwise extremely difficult for the general public to access.
Hello, my friend.
How did he access them?
Today we're going to have some fun.
So how did Kyle manage to get his hands on these highly dangerous and sometimes explicitly illegal firearms? Well, that's all
Why does
thanks
he
to
have
a
a
man named Keith
minigun?
Ratliff, friend of Kyle and co-owner of FPS Industries, a custom firearm fabrication and testing company. Being Kyle's primary weapon distributor, Keith was a crucial member of the FPS production team, as his special licensing gave him the power to fuel all the insanity you saw unfold on the channel. Without his connections and credentials, it'd be a lot harder for Kyle to get away with videos like 12-gauge Dragon's Breath, Glock 17 explosive ammo, or Flamethrower Massacre. Glock 17 Kyle to get away with videos like
12 gauge Dragon Breath. This is what the Call of Duty kids be doing on shipment all the fucking
12-gauge
time.
Dragon's Breath,
Explosive ammo with a Glock 17.
17 explosive ammo, or
And a fucking
Flamethrower Massacre.
flamethrower. Like, what the fuck? That nigga was just living it.
Caught on fire a little bit.
I mean, really, it's impossible for anyone to deny the sheer entertainment value of these videos. They were insane, but then again, Kyle, or Dimitri, was also kind of an insane guy.
Bro,
Was it a
he had to have some type of mental illness to make him you feel me, to make him do shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, all content
car door or
creators
refrigerator
must.
door that hurt Scott? I have my.
It was a
incidents mixed up.
refrigerator door, but that's not how the shoot started.
When Kyle's buddies showed up a little less than sober once to a video shoot, they ended up wasting the only good target they had and jeopardized the footage altogether, meaning the FPSRussia team needed to get a little creative. And when a distorted piece of shrapnel impaled the shin of Kyle's cameraman, he let Scott choose between one of the two solutions.
Hey Scott, here's the deal. I'll give you $500 cash right fucking now, and we'll sew your leg up. Or we can go to the ER. Whatever it costs, I'll pay for. Take me to fucking hospital! Take me to the fucking hospital! I'm like, all right, all right.
Got
Basically,
impaled
Kyle
in
wanted
the
to see
leg.
what all he could
That is a fucking fennec! Oh my fucking god, that shit's so sexy! Oh my lord! Oh my! I play too much Call of Duty. I play too much fucking Call of Duty, bro. That shit looks so. It looks so breezy.
accomplish without dying. Even though he understood the gravity of each situation and knew an incredible amount about the equipment he was dealing with, he had come shockingly close to death multiple times, and yet was never deterred from pushing the envelope even further for the sake of getting a 10 million view video.
I saw a gif of you almost getting killed by a door.
Maybe a little shrapnel going.
That nigga almost died. Like, you see how close it was?
That door.
You see how chat? Let's. I'm slow. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. You see how close it was?
Shrapnel go.
Watch on this side, like his side right here. Like this side. This shit taking a little too long. God damn! Oh my god. He has luck.
Maybe a lot of shrapnel.
God damn!
Do you remember that? Was that recently?
I feel like that would have really hurt you.
It would have killed me, but like when I'm out there, I'm like, what would FPSRussia do? He wouldn't give a fuck. So it's like I don't give a fuck. And if it were me and there weren't cameras, oh god, I would have shit my pants after. I'd been like, what was that? But because it was FPSRussia doing it, FPSRussia don't care.
From a career standpoint, Kyle had it all figured out, contrasting his signature nonchalant persona with the natural flair of his weapon reviews spelled quick success for his gun channel during the first fundamental years.
He got a couple of mid bitches on him.
Partnerships with Machinima and Call of Duty. He even launched a successful Kickstarter for his own iOS app by 2012, rocketing up to the 9th biggest YouTube channel in the world, ranking above PewDiePie of all people. It seemed FPSRussia was on track for enormous success through the rest of the 2010s, but unfortunately, circumstances in Kyle's life were about to take a majorly devastating turn.
Wait, you got out of prison 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Oh, for what?
Wait. Forgot the sponsor. This video wouldn't be able to exist when he just modeled to have every round road. Two videos. Go to buy purchase this one.
Ray J fell off after he fucked Kim Kardashian. That's all I'm gonna say.
Keith Ratliff was just as infatuated with guns as his buddy Kyle. He loved shooting them, building them, and selling them. He went so far as to store bullets in his car cup holder. Needless to say, the man was no stranger to the industry, leaving his wife and son behind in Kentucky to start his own gun business in Carnesville, Georgia, where he was able to join forces with Kyle Myers.
I met Keith Ratliff. He started helping us because
that nigga said, fuck my kids, fuck my wife. We're going to start a gun business.
In the business world is what led the two together, eventually even moving into an apartment connected to the FPS Industries warehouse. They had great plans in store that unfortunately never came to fruition following the tragedy on January 4th, 2013.
What
happened? The day
happened?
Keith was mysteriously assassinated in cold blood while working out of the warehouse.
So my officers and investigators would respond to the scene, and they observed what they believe a white male had a gunshot wound.
Where?
And he was inside his office. And at this time, it is still an ongoing case.
The employee who found Keith's body the morning of his death wasted no time contacting local authorities, who rushed to the scene as quickly as possible.
Do you think FPSRussia just killed him? Like, I don't think FPSRussia was just gonna kill somebody who was giving him federal guns. Like I don't think that could have happened.
As reported by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, there were no signs of forced entry of the business, and surveillance equipment, along with some firearms, had been taken.
That niggas want to be federal so fucking badly.
And based on the scene, Ratliff died while he was working. Ratliff may have been killed by an individual he trusted, as outlined in the police statement. Considering there were no signs of him fighting back as observed in the autopsy, it's safe to assume Keith was taken off guard, a scenario which may lend itself to the perpetrator being a former associate of his. As stated by Kyle 2 years later,
I loved Keith. Keith was my buddy. Keith had been my friend for a couple of years. We traveled the country together. So it's hard for me to say, oh yeah, this person or that person, you know. Everybody's got enemies, I suppose, people who don't care for the way they do things, you know. He had a
Bro,
rocky
he
personal
didn't do
life
it.
with women. You know, I know he'd had some trouble in business in the past, but nothing that would bring something like this, you know, at least we wouldn't think so.
FPSRussia didn't do it. Come
no
on.
idea.
Since 2013, the GBI and Franklin County Sheriff's Office alike have had minimal luck in finding a lead for Keith's murder. The trial has gone cold and the case remains open to this day, meaning Keith Ratliff's family has yet to find justice in the face of these gravely unfortunate circumstances. But because Keith was also tied to one of the most prevalent online gun channels of the time, the lack of closure has naturally led to countless fans airing their own suspected theories on who's to blame. However, with little evidence comes pretty unfounded claims, as some have been quick to point the finger at the face of the channel.
I still think the Dems were behind it.
Claims, as some have been quick to point the finger at the face of the channel himself, Kyle.
There's actually an entire Facebook group that I found
Who is
from
the
Reddit that thinks
Dems?
Kyle was the one who did it. It's pretty nuts and full of people from Kyle's hometown that
Internet AJ fired.
What would someone on the
Like, he
FPS
fires
team
out.
or
I fuck
Kyle
with his
himself,
videos.
no less, gained from losing their manager and key weapon supplier? I understand it's impossible to
gain
stop
nothing.
these theories from spreading, but I think it's a little disgusting.
That's the problem with people. They're not thinking. If he killed Kyle, he would have no guns and no crazy ass videos after that. Like nobody's thinking about that.
Anything to do with it based on absolutely no concrete evidence. When looking for a culprit, especially with little to no physical evidence on hand, you have to consider the motive behind such an act. And to me, Kyle would have zero motive. I never knew Keith personally. None of us did. So it's hard to imagine who, if anyone in his life, might have had it out for him. As one theory goes, it could have been driven by his track record of infidelity, as others have insisted Obama himself might have had something.
Have been murdered by Obama's death squad. The supposed Russian memo. Okay. Y'all niggas, ooh.
The founder of FPSRussia, the biggest gun show in the world, not just on YouTube, about 100 million viewers on average a month, just on YouTube, biggest gun show in the world, was tied up at his
he's so fucking
offices.
brain dead.
He's a gun manufacturer, dead. And it's in the back of the local Georgia papers, executed, tied up in a chair, expertly.
Man, come on. As if the federal government would really waste time concerning themselves with
Alex
a
Jones
random
just
YouTube
mentally
channel. But as YouTuber Gamer
special.
from Mars has since pointed out, a business deal gone horribly wrong is also on the table. Unbeknownst to the public,
I feel like
in
that's the main
2013,
reason.
Keith was actually the head of a talent network that arranged financial deals for other gun channels. And according to another creator close to Keith, some of these YouTubers were only being paid a fraction of what they were promised.
He and I talked on the phone and he tried to woo and woe me into joining his network. I got the used car salesman BS vibe from him and never joined. Quite a few gun channels did join it, and talking to some of them, they told me that their earnings were much lower than before they joined the network. Some of these guys were doing YouTube full time, so their videos were their only source of income. To me, that seemed like a pretty strong...
That's the thing. Like, I'm not signing under any network. Like, I'm not going to sign to no OTK type situation because they're taking my own money. I'd rather be solo and thug it out than like sign to them. But I'll probably collab with some with some people like that, right? Like I'll collab with people who are in networks and shit, but I'd rather be solo
Wrong
than
motive.
anything else.
I have no idea.
I'll probably
who
start my
would
own
kill
shit.
someone over that though, but it seemed
Like if I start my own shit, they're going to get like 90% of their profits. Like if I
like
start
a
my own
logical possibility.
But it's important to remember this is all just hearsay, as the official investigation unfortunately has yet to bring back anything substantial relating to the murder. In reality, trying to decipher who
A
did
90
it
is a
based
good
on
deal.
shoestring evidence and a handful of vague testimonies is ultimately a pointless venture. Still, someone out there knows the truth, and I just hope one of these days it becomes clear so those in Keith's life no longer have to wonder about the untimely
R.I.P.
death
Keith,
of their
man.
loved one. All we know is this crime marked a new chapter in the FPSRussia history book, the beginning to a series of misfortunes that would only continue throughout the next few years, one
R.I.P.
of which
Keith.
being just a few months later.
That'd be fireworks?
The ATF conducted their first raid of Kyle's residence on March 26, 2013. According to a spokesperson from the Bureau, the claim is that
I feel like Kyle was the only thing stopping the ATF from raiding his shit. Because the things that he was doing without Kyle, oh my god, bro, that nigga would have been done. Like he would have been facing life
that
right
he was
now.
using explosives and getting paid for it via YouTube. The explosive in question was tannerite, a legal substance that blows up only when shot with a rifle. This is what Kyle used to send trucks sky high on his dad's farm, which was also raided that day. The feds argued that individuals or companies must obtain a federal explosives manufacturing license if they intend to
That's what
engage
Kyle
in the
had.
business of manufacturing explosives for sale or distribution or for their own business use.
First time they raided my house, you know, and that was a situation like
Not Kyle,
ATF was
but
in the, in
you
the
know what I
living room
mean.
and they had this big list of like my registered stuff, and they're like, we're not coming up with a couple machine guns here, and they're looking at me like I've done something wrong, and I'm like, well, they're in my bedroom. They're like,
Okay.
we searched the bedroom quite well, sir. And I'm like, mind if I take a look? I'm like, help yourself. I know exactly where the machine gun is, and I just like reach between two pairs of blue jeans on a rack and go, "Ka-ka!" and I've got an M4, and I'm just like, this the one?
Kyle wasn't just using
Yo.
explosives for fun
Is that-
anymore. He was doing it on YouTube. Kyle
Is that a World War II machine gun?
wasn't just
Or am
using
I tripping?
explosives for fun anymore.
Is
he
gas
was doing
powered?
it on YouTube and getting paid massive amounts of money in the meantime, making himself a business no matter how you wanted to cut it. I don't doubt being the biggest gun channel in the world came with its perks, but it certainly wasn't always easy, especially with local authorities eyeing your every move.
Nigga was
Since
they was
these
on
two
his
incidents
dick.
in 2013,
But
video
shit.
production on Kyle's main channel
Like
began
shit,
to
it makes
slow
sense,
over the
bro.
next few
It makes sense that there was on his dick, cause bro, what if he became all goblin like and start doing shit? You
Sure,
feel
the
me?
content was just as wild as ever, and they were still pulling impressive views, but things would never quite be the same without Keith, unfortunately.
R.I.P.
And with the
Keith,
added
bro.
pressure of the
Keith was
state
stopping
and
them.
federal government breathing down his neck, combined with YouTube's changing atmosphere, Kyle knew deep down there wouldn't be much of a future left for FPS
And that's how
Russia.
most of the
Uploading
old
his
channels
last
died,
video on
bro.
April 16th of 2016, Kyle bid a quiet goodbye to the channel without ever officially announcing it.
If you got the flamethrower, you can definitely protect your rights and melt cars if you're into it. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you share the video, give it a like down below. And as always, have a nice day.
The channel has remained inactive as of
He
September
need to post again.
2021.
Please
but
post.
the timing ended up being pretty ideal, because a little over a year later, the trajectory of his life would wildly change once
He
again.
need to post again, bro. I don't care.
As mentioned at the beginning of the video, feds raided Kyle's property for a second time towards the end of 2017. Only the cops weren't looking for explosives this time. Instead, it was a bag of weed that caused the YouTuber to face up to 25 years in the slammer. But I don't want to get
bag
ahead of
of
myself, so
weed.
I'll let Kyle do the talking.
But the feds, because of the types of firearms that are
You know what's crazy? In 2017, he'll be facing 25 years, but now in like 2023, them niggas are just going, like, them niggas do not give a fuck. But I think Georgia laws are different about weed, but them niggas would not be giving a fuck.
I owned. Were able to search my house regardless, just because I had been found to possess any marijuana whatsoever.
That 2 months is what that gets you?
In federal prison, yes.
I guess it's safe to say Kyle had made a few enemies over his time as FPS Russia, one of which being the local government, who may as well have been looking for an excuse to raid his home again 4 years after the first siege. Finally catching him on the receiving end of a package containing about 25 grams of butane hash oil, or weed for any of you lamos out there. As minor as this offense may have seemed, the Department of Justice was hell-bent on prosecuting harshly on the grounds of Kyle owning firearms along with the illicit drugs.
They was trying to get
Kyle
that
and his
nigga
team were
out.
still able to win the court case against the state on account of the initial search warrant being absolute.
Like, Georgia just be on dick, bro. Like I realized Georgia niggas just be on dick just with the YSL trial, bro. These niggas are on dick. They're trying to get anybody and everybody out one way or the other, bro.
Good bullshit. As cited by the cops, the reason they searched his house in the first place was because
they wrote a warrant that said they were able to search my home due to the fact that I was wearing shorts.
What?
I haven't heard this little bit.
Now, I had some cargo shorts on, and they said because I was wearing shorts, that meant that I was heading straight home with the half ounce of marijuana, and therefore they had the right to search my home. Whereas if I'd been wearing slacks, I guess, then I was going about my day into the world.
Maybe if Kyle were dressed in a fucking tuxedo, he would have been able to avoid the charge altogether.
Don't go home.
Possessions is still a state crime in Georgia as well. So how did you get tried for on a federal level for it?
Because we beat the state case because they wrote a bad warrant. A seed of marijuana or a hundredth of a gram of marijuana would give them the ability to search my home. So the state lost their case, and so the feds picked it up.
The warrant made no sense and obviously served as an excuse to get into his house. But with the state authorities out of the picture,
that is abuse of power.
Level were then able to swoop.
The way them niggas the way they're abusing the power from the story is crazy.
Basically threatening Kyle with obscenely trumped up charges, some of which were completely unfounded.
The stress and unknown that stretched out for 2 years was maybe worse than the 2 months in prison.
I was looking at more like 25 years of prison.
Prosecutors were determined to put Kyle behind bars one way or another, forcing him to plead guilty for the lesser charge.
They thought that nigga was a domestic terrorist,
which he inevitably did, as the alternative meant prison time for God knows how long.
Like, one of the charges was owning a firearm with a destroyed serial number. Now, what happened was he bought a brand new firearm. He bought it from a gun store legally. Everything is on the up and up. He took that brand new firearm and shipped it to a professional firearm coding person to give it cool camo or another color or something like that.
Okay.
And then it turns out that person had got paint in the serial number, and now they're accusing Kyle of
defacing a serial number, which is a 10-year mandatory minimum federally. Even the guns had nothing to do with marijuana. Those type of laws are meant to punish drug dealers who are carrying a pistol while they deal drugs, not for people who have a shotgun in their closet way back at home and they smoke some marijuana at a concert. So they were threatening me with roughly 25 or 30 years or something like that if I didn't plead guilty to some pretty nonsensical charges.
Instead, Kyle spent a total of 2 months in federal
prison. That is the dumbest and craziest shit I ever seen, bro.
Pretty insane considering the distribution.
I'm telling you, if the state or federal government wants to get you out, they will find any reason to get you out.
Just sharing it with his girlfriend.
I pled guilty to intent to distribute as well because they said that my girlfriend had smoked marijuana at my house one time and that I had distributed marijuana to her in that manner.
Regardless, Kyle made some allies, completed his 2 months, paid a $7,500 fee, and went right back to his podcast, Painkiller Already, to tell about living through the whole experience.
8 cents an hour, that is crazy. That's just slavery.
Nuts. Yeah.
It's about $20 a month.
Oh my God!
How do they justify the fact that they're paying you 8 cents an hour? Why even pay you at that point?
I'd rather have nothing, more dignity.
Well, whenever they abolish slavery, what the part that
I'd rather make 8 cents.
Second sentence of that
an hour instead of
the second part is
instead of nothing.
Except in the case of punishment. So it's literal slavery.
To this day, the FPSRussia YouTube channel remains untouched, yet gains an average of 1 million views every month and has even seen steady sub growth over the years of inactivity. His videos are still being viewed by fans old and new, so
this is what you call long-term growth. I love it. I love it. If you could like make a channel that get long-term growth, you're good for life.
Well, there's probably a couple reasons for that. For one, Kyle is a felon, meaning he can no longer buy or own any more guns whatsoever unless the law changes or he relocates to another country. And being a gun channel unable to purchase a firearm is kind of a slight roadblock.
WB Brandon?
What do they do with the guns? They just hold on to them, put them in a big vault somewhere?
Probably destroy them.
Oh, that's a shame.
That's a shame.
What
That's
would
sad.
you? 200K? Like you get more than that in guns.
Yeah, closer to 400.
400K
They took
in
$400,000
guns.
worth of guns. Holy cow!
I had half an ounce of marijuana. I was a real danger to society.
But even if he were able to get around it, the licensing itself is too much of a headache to
I mean, if they make weed legal in Georgia, which I think they are trying to, he could like, I think he could like get the felon like felony out. I don't know. But if he can, oh my god, he could come back.
Dad's property and shooting at posters of Justin Bieber from a helicopter requires a ton of credentials most gun channels wouldn't even need. It's possible Kyle could still be planning a grandiose return in the form of an alternate genre. In fact, his Twitch has even seen some activity in late 2021 with his return to streaming reaching an has even seen
FPS Kyle
activity in late 2021, with his return to streaming reaching an impressive viewership, especially considering the 6-year hiatus. The FPSRussia name may have experienced unprecedented hardships in recent years, leading to the eventual decay of the channel. But that doesn't mean the brand is gone forever. In fact, this may just be the start of a new beginning. But even if I'm being too optimistic here, at least we'll always get to hear him weigh in on the most pressing matters of the day, thanks to his podcast.
I stole a kid's hearing aid one time.
Bro,
I stole a.
That is so fucking funny. how did you do
That's
that?
fucked up. That's fucked up.
Actually, he couldn't hear you sneaking up on him.
That's fucked up. That's a W video. I love it. I love it. That shit make me smile. Alright.